So it is October the 18th, 2016, and we're talking to Frank Wallis and Margie Shuell, who were both born in this village. And I think the only two people who actually were born in the village. And Margie, you've remained in the village all your life, haven't you?
Yes, I was born in Clare Cottage, and my father worked on Mr. White's farm.
Where was Mr. White's farm? Was that
just a few yards
farm?
down the road from where we lived, because we were in a farm workers' cottage.
Yeah, and it was Fuller's, now called Fuller's Farm, which is just...
Yeah. Well, it was called Fuller's Farm then.
It was then,
Yes.
yes. And it's quite close to Hatchlands.
Very close, yes.
Wonderful. Frank, where were you born?
I was born in Daphne Cottage, Back Lane,
Yes?
1935.
Yeah.
My father was the cowman for Mr. Peyton in Old Manor Farm.
Oh,
And
Manor Farm,
he
yeah.
died in 1939
Brilliant.
and left my mum with 4 children.
He didn't die in the war?
No, he died of... what did he die of? Pneumonia.
Oh, dear. Yes.
Uh,
So did you move from Daphne Cottage then?
No, we stayed in Daphne
You
Cottage.
were able to stay?
And we was born up, went to school
School in the village?
in the village.
Yes, both of you did, didn't you?
I did as well, yes.
Because there's
certainly.
4 years between you two,
Yes.
which means that as kids, Frank would have been frightfully superior and
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have had much to do with Margie.
No, in fact, he was not in the school when I went to school.
No,
Because of,
no, because we had a Miss Lake,
we did.
school teacher,
Excellent
and
teacher.
Miss Holland.
I didn't.
Holland, she done the juniors.
Right, I'm not familiar with her name. I always remember Miss Lake, but certainly
Yeah.
So you both remember Miss Lake?
Miss Lake.
Yes.
Why do you particularly remember her?
brilliant teacher.
She was the only one you would come in contact with.
But you thought she was a good teacher?
Oh yes, yeah, very strict mind. Mm-hmm.
She come from Godalming, didn't she? On the bus every day.
Well, I know she lived in Peaslake quite a lot, but that might have been in later years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, she come down from Effingham way.
Oh,
on the
right.
bus.
Right.
Miss Holland.
Miss Hollis.
Holland.
I know. Oh,
Holland.
we used to call her Josie, the one that was my first infant teacher.
Now, I get the impression from the pleasure I've had in talking to both of you that as kids you were both quite naughty, and you have wonderful recollections, or at least I think they're wonderful recollections, of what you were doing in your childhood. I mean, Frank escaping from the farmers and so on.
Do you remember? Well, it was down on your farm in Hatchlands. All the elm trees were still there then.
Oh yes.
And there was always jackdaws and owls and hawks nesting in the elm trees, and we used to go down there and up. The trees were easy to climb, and every now and again Alan White, Mr. White, and
The farmer.
the farmer bloke, they chase us out. And
What were you doing? Were you going after birds' eggs? Or?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a super collection of birds' eggs. I did.
Did you?
Well, you did in those days because nobody realised.
Nobody knew what.
No.
And,
Now, did Hatchlands therefore look different? Where were these elm trees?
right the way down through the park. There was
Was there an avenue of them?
no, scattered,
no.
scattered,
Like they are
scattered
now.
around.
Oaks and horse chestnut, all this sort of thing.
The chestnuts were down near the road going up to your place, weren't
That's
they?
right. Each side, they're still
the
there.
Conkers. Are they still there?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And another one nearer the farm that's still there.
because we
the
used to
kiddies
get
are
down.
picking them up at the moment, you see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we used to get down there and
Yeah.
get the conkers, put them on
Yeah.
a string.
Oh yes, I remember.
play
Do you remember playing conkers?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Did you
Yeah.
have any tricks to make anyone stronger?
No, we
Put them in
I
vinegar or
didn't know.
anything?
No.
what
I
you had to
didn't know.
do, the best thing to do was to keep last year's to this year, and they'd go hard, don't bake them, just put them in a drawer, and they go hard, and they're almost impossible to break. But you had to keep them for a 12-month.
I
that's
didn't
a
know
good
all about
trick.
that.
Good.
But we used to enjoy a game of conkers, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, was that at school?
Well, just anywhere really. You might have one in your pocket, I suppose. You know, and remember you always wanted one of Mum's butcher's skewers, you know, because
Skewer a hole,
can't get
put a
them
string
now.
through, put a knot in the end,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and hold it up.
And away, yes, or
Yeah.
it all tangles round, or
I mean, if you had a direct hit, you know, pew, and then every time you broke somebody's conker, your conker become a twoer
Yeah.
or a threer,
Yeah.
and it.
And your last years became fours?
Yeah, because it, as long as you dried them very, very slowly, but if you dried them in a hot oven, they crack.
Mm.
So
Yes.
it was in a drawer.
and in those days your cottage wouldn't have been overheated anyway.
Be freezing. You wake up in the morning in
Yes,
the winter and there's frost on the inside.
Yes, you just went like that. So yes,
The
Frozen inside.
yes.
Yeah. So what was it like getting dressed?
Oh, you knew you just had to get on and do
You
it,
had
and
to
the
get
quicker
out-
you dress,
get out and get dressed quick. These good old days people talk about, they was good fun, but they weren't good because I mean you froze to death all the winter.
Chilblains?
Oh yes, on
Chilblains?
feet, on your feet.
Yeah, but I never suffered from them. My sister did.
Mm-hmm.
She used to get them, but then again she used to hold the fire.
That would do it.
That's
yeah.
that's what done it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
You had
S-
to.
We've talked in the past about the cottages, I know, but did you have running water inside in the cottages?
One tap.
We were lucky when we went, and when I remember, we had a bathroom. As you went into the back door, the bathroom was there, and
On the ground floor.
yes, before you went through to the kitchen, you see, and
This was
so
Clare Cottage.
yes, and there was certainly running water in the bathroom, not hot. I'm not sure how the hot water. No, we didn't have a tank or anything. So yes, hot water there, and a tap in the kitchen, obviously, where Mum slaved over the washing and whatever was going on.
So
That
quick
was a-
wash before you went to school.
That was a bad
Yeah.
day Mondays, wasn't it?
Oh yes,
What, it was always wash day on Mondays,
Yeah.
yeah.
and if it was wet, God, it was a bad day. Yeah.
Yes, I remember Mum never finished clearing up from doing the washing right from when we went to school till like 5 o'clock, because she knew that my dad and everybody would be coming in, you see, ready for their meal. But
At lunchtime day, you come home.
they
for
come
it, yeah.
home for a snack, yes,
Yeah.
and then the evening meal or whatever, yes.
So how did she do the washing?
Well, she had a copper.
Yeah.
You fill the copper up, and, you know.
Yeah.
And a fire underneath the copper.
Oh, what?
A fire under the copper.
Yeah.
You boiled it up.
Yeah, and then
And do
her
the
big
washing.
stick.
Then they had a ringer, a mangle.
Yeah, a mangle,
The
yeah.
old
Mangle.
big mangle. We used to have to get on that mangle and put it through.
You
That's-
did.
That's how my brother broke his leg, and he was climbing on my auntie's mangle. This was, I'm pretty sure it was Christmas time, in School Lane, you see.
What's that?
And he went, I suppose he was going through to the toilet or something, down the bottom of the garden, and he wanted the light on, you see, went to climb on the mangle, and it somehow
So was there electric light then?
There was then, but then Doug was born 1941, so
So he was younger than you.
yes, only a couple of years.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
in fact,
yeah.
barely that.
So we're talking about the 40s?
yes,
Or what would you,
yes.
maybe early 50s, if he
He-
was old enough to climb around and
No, 90.
break his leg?
No, he was only small when he broke his leg.
Oh, right. So 40s, I suppose.
Yes.
Right.
Which one was that, Doug or John?
Yeah. No, Doug.
Doug.
Because my brother John was 9 years older than me.
Yeah.
So did they have, how did they get the washing dry, particularly if it was a wet day? Did they have an airer in the kitchen?
You had one of these that you put it
On a
on
pulley.
like
Pull it
that and a pulley
And
up.
pull it up to
And
the
also
ceiling?
ropes across a room, so that you could put extra bits in, you see, and
Yeah.
then everybody went upstairs, and of course Mum got up at the crack of dawn or whatever to see what was dry and take it down before we had to come down.
So Tuesday would have been ironing.
Yes.
The laundry used to take about 3 days, all told, didn't it? Time
Well,
they washed
tiny-
it, dried it, and
Ironed
ironed it.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
but it was always on a Monday.
That's right.
I mean, nowadays, wash days anywhere, isn't
It's
it?
all the time.
Just,
Yes. Very different. You put the machine on, don't you?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
So, but the kids playing together, the boys, there'd be a group of boys, wouldn't there? Were there groups of girls playing together as well, or did you tag on to the boys, Margie?
Well, I
Because
was
you were a
always-
tomboy, weren't you?
Yes, and you see, living in Clare Cottage, there were 3 boys living at the lodge, which is just
Yes.
below. There was Graham Wright that lived in School Lane. So that was really our little gang, and this would have been the 1940s.
Yes. And you played together.
Yes, down the pit making dens, up trees.
Where's the pit?
Well, between Clare Cottage and where National Trust
Hatchland.
reception is now,
Yes.
there was this pit, you see.
Yes. Still there, actually,
It
isn't
is
it?
still there,
Yeah.
yes. And we used to love going round to round a bit further than where the reception is,
Yes.
because from time to time, Hatchland's estate, well, Hatchland's itself would have a turnout of things and would tip them down the pit. Well, you see, they only went sort of like that, and we would scrabble down. Mind you, we, of course, were in deep trouble if we were spotted, picking out all things we thought were great treasures, you see.
From Hatchlands.
Yes.
Fun.
Yeah.
and that was further round near Mr. Trimlett.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Trimlett was the head gardener.
The gardener. So
of
near to
Hatchlands.
Gardener's Cottage,
Yeah,
what is now called
along.
Gardener's Cottage.
You can see it from the
Yes.
Main road.
main
yes.
road,
Yeah.
and they had a lovely walled-in garden, didn't they?
Yes, super, with the mulberry tree.
Do you remember that mulberry tree?
I do.
I've had a few of them mulberries.
Covered in mulberry juice.
Yeah, and get a belt round the ear roll.
I'm surprised you're still here, Frank, with all these.
But you used to go to the tips, didn't you, and find things to play with?
We used to go. Well, I was round the village. I mean, I knew my way round this village like the back of my hand. I was everywhere. Do you remember Louis Spreadbury?
I
Used to live just down.
down
he's-
on the common somewhere, I believe.
No,
was
that
it?
he lived opposite Tumble Farm.
Oh,
Mr. Spreadbury was. He worked for. Now Peyton left this farm, and a bloke called Luxmore May
yes,
took over. Didn't
yes, he did.
Well, Spreadbury worked for Luxmore May.
Oh, right.
Because they had this here, this bit
Mhm.
in this farm area, and opposite the bit of the farm,
Tunmore.
Tunmore.
Yeah, Tunmore, yes.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the cottage, isn't it? now.
Tunmore
Anyway.
Cottage?
Yes,
Yeah, just
yes,
down there.
Yes.
Yeah, but that was always one cottage, though, wasn't it? That was never
Yeah.
two.
Never two.
No, that was
Oh,
always one.
Yes.
Because further, the next one up, once upon a time, it was three
Frogmore.
cottages, Frogmore, and that's where the butlers lived.
That's
isn't it?
right. A butler each side of it. It was a semi-detached
Yeah.
with butlers both.
There was two sisters
Yes.
lived one side.
Butlers
and
by name or butlers who were the butler
butler
of Hatchland?
by name.
By name, okay.
And two sisters live one side, and their brother and his wife lived the other side, didn't they?
Yes.
And
Now, you talked about Luxmore May. There were people called May who lived in Old Manor Farm.
yeah, well,
Is
it
that
was,
the same sort of
yeah,
family?
he was a Luxmore May.
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
He
was in Old Manor Farm 1942 to 1954.
yeah,
Would that tally in with the
Yes.
time
Yeah.
you're talking about?
Yes.
he appeared during the war,
Yeah, 42.
and
Yes.
because Mr.
We've-
Peyton, I don't know if Peyton died or if he went away.
I have no idea.
Luxmore
I don't
May
know
took
about
over.
him at
Because
all.
my mum used to work for Mr. Peyton. She used to be the char lady in the big house in the farm house,
Old Manor Farm.
Old Manor farmhouse.
Right.
Uh,
Before
my
the
mother-
Mays.
Before
My mother
May.
used to help Mrs. White. You see, that was.
Oh, right. Yes, yes. At Fuller's Farm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fascinating. But were you the one that said you used to find pram wheels and make the go-kart and go up Staple Lane?
No, what? That was my brother.
Jeffrey.
No, Ron.
Oh, Ron.
Why you weren't killed, I don't know, coming down Staple Lane with
Oh,
no brakes.
No. We
You
used
just
to,
didn't think of things like that, really.
You
So
know-
little
When you
traffic.
built
you were never going to get hurt, were you? I mean,
And you roll off anyway, wouldn't you? And yeah.
you just roll.
I mean, a
There was
straight
no-
knee or a,
Yeah.
you know.
You wouldn't meet a car. You might meet a horse,
Yes.
a
Ah.
cart horse, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't meet a car.
A cart horse. Now that's fascinating.
Yeah, because every farm had two cart horses. Didn't
That's
they?
right. My father worked with the horses at
Did he?
Fuller's Farm. Yes.
Yeah.
That
And
was
every
his
farm
job.
had 2 cart horses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they were doing
So-
everything from harrowing and planting seeds and the harvest and
Ploughing.
yes, everything.
And
Yeah.
they used to walk miles doing
Oh,
that, didn't they?
absolute miles.
Yeah.
Because if you think of the length of a field and they go up and down there all day long.
What, the horses?
Yes,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
your
But the carter
person.
Yeah.
had to be behind.
Yes,
Yeah.
And
So you were walking all
so
those
the
miles.
carter walked the same as the horses.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's where the ploughman's lunch originated from, because they used to, if they was working away out in the field, they'd take a bit of bread and cheese with them, and they wouldn't come home
And
for lunch.
Yes, and something hot to keep the drink.
Because up, what's the farm up here?
Sykes.
Sykes, Mr. Sykes. Now, he was a Geordie, wasn't he?
I don't know what.
Coming down,
What?
and their farm went through to the row of trees between East and West Clarendon.
Right.
And so when the carter was along there ploughing, he wouldn't come home. He'd just stop and have a flask and a ploughman's lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you walk from east to west Clarendon?
Every Saturday morning,
Did you?
we used to take the accumulator from the radio over to Mr. Bennett's garage. His garage was just over the railway bridge.
Yes.
On the left-hand side, and we take the accumulator and bring another one back with us.
Well, we did the same thing at Clare Cottage, only we had to walk to the pumping station to get our accumulator and change them over.
Where's that then? Pumping station.
Oh, well,
Horsley.
Horsley.
Horsley?
You know where the first roundabout is? That's
Yeah.
called the pumping station because there was a pumping station.
On the
there.
right-hand
By
side.
Bell and Colville.
Yes,
Yeah.
opposite Bell.
Right opposite.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, I know.
And they're repairing.
Still there.
No, doing some repairs there now, aren't they?
Yes.
So what did you need the accumulator for?
The
Radio. Yeah.
or Wireless, as we call it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was got the wireless in, didn't they? Big,
What I think is fascinating in walking the dog, if you go down around the golf course, past the cherry trees, that some of that path has been laid with bricks and stones, flagstones, as though at some point somebody's kind of paved it.
what,
Do you
between
remember it,
here and
Kate?
West Clarendon?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you who that was. James Bacon did that.
Did he?
Yes.
Do you know when?
because-
Sort of when?
Oh,
Ish?
not that many years ago, because he was in charge. Well, he did all the village. This is in more recent years, you see. I don't know.
Oh, right, yes.
And when his job finished on a farm, he was doing work round the village.
Work in the village, yes.
And because of all the mud and everything, when they had any rubble from houses or anything, James would do his best to put a decent.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yes,
Because in our day, that was called the cinder track.
that's right.
Was it?
From east to west,
Yes.
and there was kissing gates through there, wasn't it?
That's right, this-
You go through.
Yes, they were until quite recently.
It was.
Really?
Have they gone?
Yes,
I suppose
because
the golf course still gone.
well, I'm saying yes. I'm pretty
don't-
sure I just walked straight through now, but I'm not sure. I couldn't.
So did people go from east to west and west to east quite a lot?
Quite a lot, yes.
Yeah, quite.
Yes,
yeah,
because it was a
quite.
quick walk. An old, I only know this through written down things, but there was a gentleman at High Clarendon who used to, and this is going back really to about, I don't know, 1900 or something like that, and he used to walk from High Clarendon and through the cinder track to the station, you see.
Ah, yes. Oh, yes, from
That was-
one of the big houses up in High Clarendon.
Yeah, or
and
the
walked-
big house.
Oh, right,
There
the
was
The
only,
big, there was only the one.
So
big
where the
house.
McMullans are now
Yes.
are.
That's right.
there was, that was up there on his own for years. And
Oh, years
wasn't
and years, yes.
it? And didn't one of what's the name's relations live up there? The bloke who owned the village.
Randall lived up there.
Randall. Well, I think one of his relations lived up there, didn't they?
What, Rendell, Goodhart Rendell?
Yeah.
One of his relations?
I think it was.
I'm
Right.
not sure about that.
Yeah,
No.
interesting. Goodness.
So yes, I mean, and when East Clarendon's cricket team
Yes.
met West Clarendon's cricket team, and we were playing by the village hall because they had a nice big football ground, you see. We walked from here
To west.
to West Clarendon before we played cricket, and then when it was over, cheerio, and then we walked back again.
And you played cricket?
I did.
You good girl. Ahead of your time.
I was taught to bat right-handed. It's the only thing I can do right-handed, but I was taught that, you see.
By your brother?
Well, by all of them, yes.
Where was the cricket pitch here? Was down in Woodfold, wasn't it?
Don't remember that.
Where's that
Well,
then, Frank?
I know the village team in the 1940s played opposite the farm in the meadow there.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yes,
yeah.
because you had a produce show there every
Yeah.
year.
Hang on. Are you talking about...
Where the cows are now.
You go.
I don't know where you are. I've got lost.
When you walk down the Rectory Drive and you've got the lodge here,
Yes.
and the farm there, where the cows are there in that big field, between farm and the main road.
Oh, right. Oh, gosh. So not on what's now called the Green,
What here?
not down there, by the old house.
Oh no!
Oh no, that's the common.
That's
was
the common.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, you know.
I thought they used to be out in Woodfold, you know, on the left as you go down the cinder track. Old Sykes' farm used to go out. Maybe I'll get that wrong.
So they did play cricket in this
Oh,
village
definitely.
Up to the war.
until the war.
Oh, I was talking about after the war.
Yeah.
So it was continued. That was good.
Yes, so maybe what you're saying was before the war, and therefore I was would be about about 1945.
Yes, after the war.
Yes, when people were so determined in the village that they were going to really live. I mean, we had darts played in the pub. You had the men playing cricket, and the produce show, and then we had brownies, cubs, and then later they had scouts and the guides.
Wonderful.
And youth club.
Wonderful. So many children in the village. And WI, do you know when the WI started?
1947.
47. About the same sort of time.
Yes.
So lots going on in the village.
Yes, oh yes.
And lots of young in the village.
And if you were a member of the choir...
Yes.
We walked at least...
Margie's indicating that you might be forced to be in the choir, dragged in.
You were required, yes.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you sang, how you sang. Perhaps I sang better when I was younger.
And was that Glyn?
I only remember Glyn because I was very new to the school, and he came into the school with 2 big trays of all sorts of things, and we were allowed to go up and choose something, I mean, not big things, but to us they were lovely.
What, presents?
Well, things like some lovely pencils, a rubber. I mean, all sorts of little tiny things that we had no shop that did that sort of thing, and we were delighted to go and pick some.
Yeah. This was Father Glyn?
Yes.
Who was very tall?
Yeah.
Was he?
Dressed in black.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, you see, I don't remember that because I was...
Yeah, he was a big man.
Yeah. Should we, before we go further forward, should we just go back to the war for a while? Because you can remember the Canadian soldiers?
The Canadian soldiers appeared about 44.
40 what? 41?
44. They
44.
started to appear because they were...
For the Normandy
They were
landings.
here for the Normandy landings.
Yes.
And then all up Staple Lane were big Nissen huts, big black ones they were, and they appeared in 44, and they was full of ammunition. Right the way up.
And the soldiers were higher up Staple Lane, where they were
soldiers
billeted.
Nearer to Scotland Farm as it is now.
Oh yeah. Because if you go up into the downs up there, there's roads all the way around, and they were put there.
Tarmac, you mean?
Yeah, I suppose they are. Well, shingle, and made up roads, and that's was there for the roads round the camps. They stretched right the way from Guildford, through Mara, through East West Clarendon, Horsley, right the way through to Dorking.
What, the camps for the soldiers?
Yeah, there was thousands. That's where they were waiting to go off to D-Day.
So they must have erected the accommodation for them very quickly.
Yeah, there was all kinds of Nissen huts up there.
Yeah.
And do you remember the convoys used to come down through here in 44 and
I can't recollect that.
they were the Americans.
Oh, right.
Convoys used to come through, and when one of them come through, we was up there, whew, and chocolates, chewing gum, sweets used to come out.
I don't remember that.
You were too little, Margie.
We didn't come into the village much at all until only for school.
Oh right, because you were up in Clare. But you watched for the Americans to be coming through, and you were all there.
You was waiting,
So they were friendly to you.
Yeah, they used to. Well, they just drove by, they were on their way down. Where were they going? They used to go further on down over the Hog's Back way. The Americans.
Yes. Oh, did they?
They come down in long convoys.
Yes.
With the old American flag flying on the front.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we used to stand up there and shout, "Got any gum, chum?" And the switch used to come flying out.
And they'd throw them at you?
Yeah, as they went by.
You see, I remember the Italian ones because we were in Clare Cottage.
Yes.
And I got told that I mustn't go out of the garden to talk to them because they often used to have a break, a cigarette or whatever, in the sort of little copse opposite us, you see.
Yes.
And I mean, I used to go across to talk to them and they talked to me. They probably got children of their own, who knew?
Yes, precisely.
But of course my mother was a bit concerned and told me I mustn't go out of the garden. I could talk to them if they happened to walk by. I think.
Did they speak English?
Well, they must have done.
Broken English,
Yes,
a lot of them.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
some
they
of
were
them never went
Italian
home.
prisoners of war.
Yes.
And so what farm were they working on?
Mr. White's then, you see.
Oh,
because,
Mr. White's farm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So
they
how-
used to come in a lorry
Yeah.
with a guard,
Yeah.
and the soldier had a rifle, and
Yes.
they used to disperse round the village, digging ditches and cutting hedges.
all sorts of things.
So can you remember how many at a time would
Oh,
come?
there'd be a lorry load rolled up into the village,
Really?
and they'd get out, and they had a guy. I suppose it was denim kind of thing, not denim, but a uniform,
A
and they had
serge or
them,
something, yeah.
them spots.
Oh, right.
And they used to disperse all the way around the village, digging ditches, cutting hedges.
Well, that was, I presume, helped
Randall.
and everybody maintain while all the
Yes.
of our own people
The estate
were in
workers
the war.
were fighting
Yeah.
abroad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
They appeared about early 44, didn't they? They started to
I
appear.
wouldn't put a year on it,
Yeah.
but I was only small at the
It,
time, which would make me about 5.
Yeah.
39. 43, some of them appeared. And, but we never had no Germans working
No,
on the farm.
no.
No, it was Italians.
Yes.
The Germans were further up country.
Mm.
The Italians.
Really, really.
I think some of those were sent, yes,
They were
even
more
like
up
the Isle of
Scotland,
Man
weren't
and
they?
all
Yeah.
this sort of thing.
But the Itais, I mean, they were just sitting the war out, weren't they?
Mm.
And then, Frank, you were saying that one day in 44, all the Canadians and Americans had just
Yeah,
gone.
just before D-Day,
Yeah.
the whole lot disappeared.
It disappeared. Yeah.
And it was, up there was deserted. And about 40, right at the end of, just before peace, as the Allies went through Europe, they were releasing all kinds of nationality prisoners,
Mm.
and they started to appear up here. They brought them up there.
Prisoners.
Yeah, ex-prisoners of war,
Prisoners of war, yeah.
and they were up here.
All sorts of different nationalities, you were saying.
Yeah, a lot of them were more European, Poles and
Eastern European.
Eastern Europeans.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Until they were repatriated,
Yeah.
I suppose.
yeah. And then I don't know what happened to it then. Up there,
Don't know.
everything just disappeared, didn't it?
Yes, and then it became, you could go, as Frank was saying, right across. When they had racing horses
Yeah.
in the village, it used to be called the gallops, because
Yes.
early morning, after it was just light sort of thing, they would go up Staple Lane and be racing the racing horses along the gallops, as we called it.
I
Yeah.
can't remember who owned those horses.
Peter Frell was the trainer.
And where was he
He
based?
was stationed at Wicks Hill,
Right.
and they had one or two in the stables in the pub.
That's right.
Up the side of the pub
Yes,
up here.
that was
Racing
yes.
horses.
Yes.
Yeah, and because they trained a Cesarewitch winner up here once, didn't they?
I
I
don't
remember
know if
that
they
there
had
was
a winner or not.
yeah.
But yes.
And do you remember Mr. Collins used to live the second one up in School Lane, a bloke called Collins, tall bloke. He was a stable lad.
Oh right.
He lived next door to Butler. The butler used to drive.
I know there was a Collins there because
Yeah.
she lived there until she died, and then Doug bought that cottage.
Yeah, that's it. Doug bought that. I helped him renovate it.
Yeah.
Mr. Butler, he lived in the first one,
Mhm.
and he drove the steam engine, didn't he? The roller, the road roller.
Yeah.
And Mr. Collins lived next door, and he worked for Peter Frau as a stable lad.
Right. So the racing stable owner was up at Wicks Hill. He didn't actually live in the village.
No, he lived at Wicks Hill,
Mm-hmm.
and the gallop started at the top of
Yes.
at the back of the glebe at West Clarendon. It started there and went right the way through to past the back of High Clarendon, because up at High Clarendon they had a starting tapes before the stalls come. They had tapes used to fly up and the jocks.
By High Clarendon.
Yeah, and they used to train the horses up there to start.
Right.
And
Now, I don't know if you remember, Skip McMullen was telling us when we recorded them that there were prisoners of war living in their house at some stage.
Could be.
Were you
couldn't it?
aware of that?
High Clarendon in the big house.
yeah, because that's when it deteriorated, didn't it?
Mm.
The house went. It was
Yeah, really down. wasn't it?
after the war. The roof leaked and it was really run down.
Was it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, Randall's lived in part of it. You know that was.
I see. Yes. The relation of Lord Rendell.
No, he was the
No.
gardener. Wasn't he?
Yeah,
he
Randall
used
was
to-
the gardener.
Oh, right.
Mr. Randall lived. He was the gardener up High Clarendon, wasn't
Yeah,
he? And
he lived up there.
he lived up in the cottage
Mm.
at the back of High Clarendon House.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Trimlett, he lived in the walled-in garden down there. He was the head
that
gardener.
was further along at towards Wicks Hill.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. That one.
Fascinating.
At the end at Wicks Hill, when you're coming into the estate, Rendell's estate, a bloke called Hill lived there, didn't he?
I don't know. I can't
Yeah.
remember his name.
Now he was a relation of Hill, who was the landlord in the pub.
Oh right. Yes.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that ties that up.
Yes.
And what's his name? Bill Hill.
Yes.
God, he used to chase us everywhere. That one.
Who was that?
Bill Hill. He was the landlord of the pub, and he used to think he owned the village. And God,
Do you get belted by him?
he never caught us once. he was too slow. You could hear him. Well, he always had a dog with him, and the dog was always 20, 30 yards in front of him. So when you see his dog, he was gone.
You could run,
Yeah,
and you ran.
Because we was down in a copse, they're down the cinder track.
Mm-hmm.
There was a copse, and it used to be all in the spring. You get magpies and jays nests in there, and we was in there, and we heard him coming, and my brother was up the tree at the nest, and we shouted, "Uncle Bill!" And my brother swayed. There was along the edge of the copse was all blackberries, and my brother swayed the tree over the blackberries, dropped into the field, and was gone.
So you must have had a pretty good collection of birds' eggs.
Oh yeah, we had a super. My brother and I, we had a real good. Mr. Payton, when he left, he gave us a box with drawers in,
Oh, yes.
and deep drawer at the bottom, and we had it full of eggs.
Proper specimen cabinet.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
lovely, isn't
Doesn't
it?
it sound great?
Yeah, we had that.
Amazing.
And,
Yes, and you would think nothing of it
no,
in those days because
no,
everybody did it.
No.
Yeah.
We used to collect moorhens'
Yeah.
eggs, which we had for breakfast.
Yeah, they were good, weren't they?
Did you?
Yes, you
Did
could,
you?
by looking round the edge of the pond, you see, if you saw a nest, I mean, obviously you would take one from a nest. I can't imagine that we would take any more than that, but
No.
you would collect, even if it was
So
only
were they like
sort of-
quail's eggs? Small,
Yeah,
little?
well, you
They
know,
were they were smaller than a
like,
chicken,
about
weren't
like
they?
that, like
Yeah.
that.
And
Quite
they was
small.
a dusty colour with black spots on
That's
them.
right. Yes,
And
Yes.
we used to go all them ponds down the sheep wash.
Yes.
And when you went from the sheep wash down to the railway,
Oh,
there
yes.
was a road down through there,
Yes.
track down through there, and there was ponds all the way down,
Oh, really?
and there was always moorings on them. And then, to top the lot, the stream used to run down and go under the railway,
Yeah.
and the other side of the railway was the big pond. You can see it as you go down
yes, at Pond Cottage.
Pond Cottage.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now that was a big lake, and they had ducks on that pond. And what was the gamekeeper's name? He lived in the house right alongside the road.
Well, we never got that far,
No.
you see, because we had Rookery Pond
Yeah.
up the other way.
And so you couldn't get into the pond from this way. So we used to go through the stream under the railway, and come out the other side. And we was at the back side of the pond, and we used to go all the way around, collect up what we could, and then go back under the railway.
Good Lord. Collecting eggs?
Collecting eggs, yeah. And we'd take them home, give them to Mum, and we'd have a good fry up.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. So what duck's eggs are we talking about
Duck's
now?
eggs
And
and moorhens.
And moorhens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
But
And
did
it's-
your parents not keep their own chickens?
Yeah, we
Yes.
had chicken.
You did as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
and a pig.
And a pig.
We
Every
never had
year a pig?
It,
Every year a pig?
you're a big pig. No, I can only remember the one. We had it from that size up, and then.
Yeah.
But before that, in the war, Mr. White could slaughter one, and then various people had different cuts.
Yes.
you know.
Yes. But no freezers, of course, in those
No,
days.
and you,
So you
yeah.
ate it.
mhm.
Amazing.
Well, the old farmers could do like that, what they like, couldn't they? Really?
Well, they could up to a point, yes, as
Yeah.
long as you didn't get caught.
They never had all the cows never had a tag on their ear roll like they have now.
No.
No.
Nobody knew what they had.
And
And
you
no
see,
TV.
No, and I mean,
Now, had foot and mouth.
You did have foot.
Do you
and mouth.
remember
Oh,
foot
foot
and
and,
mouth?
oh, dreadful! Yes,
Well,
putting your
1940,
feet in. I don't know what.
about 1945. What, every cow out in the village?
Yes,
Really?
if we
Yeah.
went anywhere, you had to put your feet in the
disinfectant.
Disinfectant, yes.
And oh yes, when
So
they
that was
were
at all the
slaughtering
farms?
them.
Every farm got it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
old farmer Powell, down there where you live, that farm down there, they slaughtered all of his cows, and when you go down now, before you get to the main entrance, there's a farm gate, and just if you go through that gate, and just on the right, they dug a great big hole, and they drew a horse, drawed all the cows out, covered them with lime,
Yeah.
and there was a big mound there for years.
Oh,
You see,
So-
at Mr. White's,
yes.
they also had a big pit just outside, sort of within line with Clare Cottage, but within the park, but just a huge, and the smell and the
Oh, it must have been
everything,
awful.
yes.
Awful,
Yes,
yeah.
and
Because you were talking about the farm down there would have been what is now where the Fortes are, that farm.
or at the crossroads,
No.
Hunts were
No,
there.
no. That's home farm.
Oh, home farm.
A home
Oh,
farm.
quite close in the
Yeah.
village.
Oh,
Home farm.
right.
'Cause,
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Sandy Powell had that farm, didn't he?
I have no idea. That doesn't ring a bell
Yeah,
with me.
Powell. He had that. And he never, when they used to go put the clocks forward,
Yeah.
he never. No. And one of my little jobs was Mrs. Down the back lane, Huggins, old Matt Huggins. You
Yes,
remember
I
old
Oh
Matt
yes, with
I used to go down and get her milk from Sandy Powell's farm, home farm,
yes.
and of course, he never moved his clocks.
Huggins didn't.
No,
No.
Farmer Powell.
Powell, right?
Yeah. So he was. If we was at 9 o'clock here, he was at 8 o'clock. Why? Why he done it? God only knows.
Didn't wish to change. But
Yeah.
Huggins in Back Lane,
Yeah.
that was a forge, you were saying
Yeah.
as well. There were two forges in the village,
So there was one up the forge,
which is Forge Cottage.
opposite the
yes,
pub,
The forge here.
and there was the forge down the back lane,
Yeah.
and Matt Huggins, and there was two Hugginses down
Yes,
there.
there
They
were.
lived next door to each other.
That's right.
didn't
And that's Anne Randall's grandparents
Really?
were back there. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you not know that,
no, I
Margie?
didn't realise.
Yeah.
So, and because I used to go in there and pump the forge for the keep the fire going.
To keep
Yeah.
it
In
going,
Back
yeah.
Lane.
Yeah,
Oh,
for Mr.
right.
Mr. Huggins.
For Mr. Huggins.
Mm.
And another thing I used to do with Mr. Huggins, he used to cut pea sticks in the winter,
Mhm.
hazel, and he had, when you just before you get to the Duke of Wellington at Horsley,
Yes.
on the right hand side, he used to go over there and you go up into the downs,
Hmm.
and there was all hazelnuts up there, bushes up there, hazel trees. And he used to go across and cut them down, and I used to go across and put them in 12 in a bundle.
Is that for beans? Run of beans?
Bean sticks and pea sticks.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
And
And they
to
sell them?
he had somebody used to come round with a tractor and trailer and load them up and take them away.
So a lot. He did a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I used to do that on a Saturday. Go over there. Yeah.
Are there any noticeable changes in the village?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
it went from a working village to a commuter's village.
Yeah.
Because all the cottages, well, the majority of cottages were semi-detached, which have now been nicely renovated, so the village looks the same, but there's only one person living in a...
Yeah. Instead of two
House
cottages.
Which had
Yes.
about 8 in it.
Yeah.
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 So it still looks as though the horse and cart could still come through, or the carriage, because, yes, it's kept...
It's kept very well.
Yes.
I mean, the only thing what mars the village is the two cottages either side of the village hall. I mean,
Yeah.
how they got permission for that, I don't
Well,
know.
you see, Rendell didn't put anything in writing, did he?
No.
I mean, had they not been developed into housing, it would have probably ended up with car parking or
Yeah,
something.
I suppose.
No, I don't know.
So
They're the only two cottages which kind of stand out a bit, isn't it?
because Goodhart Rendell built St Thomas Drive, didn't he? Do you
Yeah.
remember that being built, Margie? St
Well,
Thomas Drive.
he didn't. Well,
He
he
didn't-
was part
he-
of St Thomas's Housing
Yeah.
Society.
He was the
And,
architect.
Yeah.
He was, yes.
That's what I meant,
And
yes.
also, where the housing was built for those 10 houses
Yes.
was part of his estate, which was sold to St Thomas's Housing.
I see. I see. And still owned by that St Thomas's Housing.
Same
Yes.
people own it, don't they?
Yeah.
There's,
No, none at all.
Say that again. I missed that. What
No,
did-
the houses will not be sold because it's in the rules.
Deeds
and,
or- In the deeds,
whatever,
yeah.
yes.
So do they pass down through the
No,
owner's family?
No, they've always been for the village where possible.
So they don't
So-
stay within the same family, each house?
No. Oh, no.
So who moves in then?
Well, because whoever's next on the list or whatever, and is still qualifying, then, well, as my parents lived in Clare Cottage until my father had the accident, and
Yes.
then they needed the cottage, so we, for the temporary time, we lived in just the house of schoolhouse,
Yes.
not the like it is now,
Yes.
which was in a way quite fortunate for us, because my brother John had just gone into the RAF,
Mhm.
and so there was only Doug and I
Yes.
and my mum and dad living in that very small, I can't remember if there was 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms, but it was pretty tight. But we were so pleased to have something while we waited for number 7 St Thomas's to be completed, because,
Built.
Yes.
Who lived in the caretaker when we was kids at the school there, where you moved into?
Oh, what, Mrs. Caretaker?
Oh, I can't remember.
Mrs. Illingwood?
No,
No.
Mrs. Illingwood Lamb.
Yeah.
It was the back of the school. He was the caretaker kind of thing, wasn't he? And I can't remember his name whatsoever.
No, I don't know, because my dad had, as part of the agreement for us to be in schoolhouse, my mother had to clean the church and the brass and things.
Yes.
My father had to do the churchyard, both round the church and in School Lane, and do the heating, which was down under the church, and be there for services.
Yes. So, was the school owned by the church? Was
Yes,
it a church school?
It was a school.
So it was
Yes.
the rector who gave permission for you and your family to live it in the...
I presume so, because he
the school
was
cottage.
still in the rectory, you see, and
Yes.
after we moved into St Thomas's, the then rector, Mr Paul, or Father Paul, I think
Yes.
his name,
Yes.
then he moved into there, and that is when I think the next one in was Mr Rendell, because he'd given the house over to the National Trust.
And lived in the old parsonage?
Yes. And he had,
Goodhart Rendell?
Yes.
Lived in the old parsonage?
Yes.
Really?
Well, the rectory, yes.
Yeah,
As
you call it
was
the
then.
rectory, yes.
Yes. And he had the close built, which is between the rectory and the lodge,
Yeah.
for Mr Trimlett to come down there to be the gardener again, you see,
Right, right.
in the close.
Because, now then, I've lost the... Scott Gardner,
Oh yes, Scott Gardner,
the
yeah.
father, or Reverend Scott Gardner, he was the first one to go to West, and it was a joint parish between East and
Actually,
West. Is that
Scott-
right?
Yes, I'm not sure. Oh, it was Father Brown. It was Mr Brown and his family that lived when we were...
That was in the war.
Yes,
No,
Because-
after the war.
just after the war, because he had some daughters, and there was a tennis court, I remember, at the front of the house there.
And the church was full of incense at that time.
Oh, with Father Paula was, yes, because my
Father
brother used
Brown.
to do all that,
Oh, was he the censor? He was or the boat boy.
because my mother thought, oh, he might become a rector, because he was getting so, and she...
Well, interesting.
Because Father Paul, he was the last actual one here, wasn't he? And then they joined together with West Clarendon, didn't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was Scott Gardner who was the first
yes,
joint
Scott
rector.
Gardner, yes, I remember. Mr.
So
Scott Gardner was in the
Father
WI.
Poole was the last one here.
I think he was, wasn't he?
I'm pretty sure that's
'Cause
right.
He lived in the schoolhouse. didn't
Yes,
he?
that's right.
Yeah.
And it's difficult, I'm sure, for you, but can you remember the date, therefore, that Mr. Goodhart Rendell handed over Hatchlands and moved himself
Not without looking at the
into the
National Trust.
into
book.
the rectory? But so, did he die in the rectory then?
No, he moved from the old parsonage
Yeah.
into Tumble, and then
Goodhart Rendell,
yes,
did he?
yes, for a very short time, yes.
And is that where he died? So he died in 56, didn't he?
He must have died then, because when
So he moved quite a lot.
when he
He downgraded.
Yeah.
Downsized.
Yes.
Because the people who lived in that one, they were called Blair, weren't they? Do you
I
remember?
don't remember Blair.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was another little earner we had.
A little earner.
Yeah. he used to love peewit eggs, and all those fields from your place down further. I don't know what they call that down there. From the common down to the railway. They used to be covered. There were hundreds of peewits out there.
Yes, you don't see them now.
No, they've all gone. And we used to go out there and collect them and take them round to Mr. Blair, and we get some pennies for them.
The eggs.
Yeah, to him they were
Peewits.
Yes.
a delicacy.
Small.
No, they was.
Well, they're big eggs.
Peewits, you mean lapwings?
That's
yeah.
right. That
Well,
was what we
lapwing,
called them
peewits.
Still
peewit.
get them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they
Oh,
still
you
down
do?
there?
We don't in the village
Yeah.
up here, no. We
Yeah.
used to
Still get them.
Yeah, there used
Oh,
to be
lovely.
loads of them down there.
Not so many now.
Lovely. Goodness.
And
Goodness. What wonderful, wonderful memories.
Super.
Thank you so much.
Have you
Thank you so
finished?
much.